welcome to another episode of Fabric Garage. So on this episode, we are going to put some work into the B8.5 S4. We are finally going to put the lowering springs on it. We're going to lower it. After I did the wheels, that gap just been eating at me slowly. So it's time to lower it a little bit, make it look a little cleaner. Haven't had a lot of time. I've been doing a lot of reviews and work in between having a son. So anyway, finally had some garage time. So we're going to put the springs in. I'll show you guys what I got, and then we'll get to installing it. All right, so the springs that I chose was the H&R Sports. Those are the blue ones. They do have a red. I think they're called the Super Sports, and they lower it more. So this one here claims to lower 1.5 inches in the front and 1.5 inches in the rear. I bought this from ECS Tuning. They're not paying me to do this or anything like that. I just like to buy it from there because their shipping is fast and their price is pretty competitive. I know a lot of you guys hate ECS Tuning for some reason, but I've always had good luck with them. And if the price is the same, they're not making the product, so it doesn't really matter to me. But anyway, so if you guys want to get it from ECS Tuning, this is the part number 251841. You can just type that into the search. Or if you want to get it anywhere else, this is the H&R part number 50361. So you can search that on Google, any website that comes up cheaper, get it from elsewhere. But this was the cheapest I found because at the time when I bought it, they were offering a 10% coupon or 15% coupon. So these ended up being cheaper than any other website that I got. That's the cool thing about ECS. They always send coupons and stuff to lower your price at checkout. So anyway, I'm going to be putting these in. I'm not going to do a extremely detailed every bolt, every nut, but I will definitely show you guys everything that you have to take apart to get to it. So as you guys can see, my car's already on the lift. I already took the wheels off, and I'm gonna start disassembling the suspension, and I'll show you guys everything I have to do. I already started on this side here. So all I did so far is remove this big bolt here, which again, these here, they tend to seize and they tend to break. If you remove the nut and you cannot turn this bolt, you can try and put a tiny bit of heat on here to see if it'll move. But if your bolt is completely seized on here, you want to remove these two arms here and then take the whole strut assembly without the arms. Leave the arms attached to here. Mine came off super easy, which is awesome. So I'm going to remove it, the whole piece like that. But again, if your big bolt is seized, leave it alone, because to drill this out is a freaking nightmare. I've done it in the past many times. So basically this bolt, this nut, then everything up top, there's 4 bolts up top, 1 in each corner, which I'll show you guys as I get to it. And then sway bar link, 16mm, and then down here, the big bolt. So I'll show you guys as I go through, but let's get to it. So when you go to take out the 16mm for your sway bar link, the bolt kind of hits this plastic piece. 2 10mm plastic nuts. This piece just slides out. Take out this side. Take out this side, that just drops. And you can literally just twist it like that and move it out of the way. That way, now you have an open spot here for your bolt to come out. So 16 comes right out. Another thing I want to point out real quick as we're doing this, every bolt you remove, put it back in with anti-seize. You are going to thank me later on these cars here. Anti-seize works wonders. So every single bolt, whether you use the aluminum anti-seize or the copper one, it don't matter. As long as you put some anti-seize on the threads before you put it back in, you're always going to be able to take it apart. That's the reason why these bolts freeze on here, is because, you know, either the bolt hasn't been removed enough to not seize, or people just put them back in and then they'll seize. Every bolt, especially the caliper bolts on these S4 brakes, they like to break too. The one to hold the bracket, the huge ones. I've drilled those many times. So every bolt you remove, and it seize. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. If your bolt on here is frozen and you cannot take it out like I did, you're going to have to take it out from here like I already said. However, when you go to put it back together, you do not just want to put this on here and tighten it. You on this, because as you see right now, it's around where the car would be where if it was on the ground. So as you go over a bump, it'll go up and down. So if this arm is all the way down and you just put it on and you tighten it, when you put the car on the ground, you're going to destroy this bush in here. So this has to have like a preload. So when you put these on here, put the bolts on, leave them both loose, you're gonna have to jack up under here and basically bring the wheel close to where you would be if the car was on the ground, and then you tighten it, because like I said, you need this preload here so you don't destroy your bushing. All right, so once you have everything loose down there, you're gonna come up here, you're gonna remove this whole plastic piece here going across. So there's just two little clips here. You put a flathead in here and you go counterclockwise without adding pressure down. It should come right up. If it doesn't, you can turn it as you pry with another screwdriver in the back. It's just a little clip. So there's one on each side, and then this comes right out. All right, once you take that off, on the passenger side, you're gonna see your 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are by your intake. And on the other side, you do have to remove the upper section of the washer bottle. So as you can see here, the washer bottle goes into here, but this does separate right there. So I believe there's a 13 mil here that you got to take off, and then this washer bottle, just the top part of it slides right out, and then you get access to your other 2 bolts. So you got 1 here by the reservoir, 2, 3, and then 4. Pretty much same location as the other side, it's just this is covering it. All right, as you guys can see, you take that 1 bolt out and then keep rocking this and pulling it until it comes out of the hole right there. And then obviously before you put this back in, put a little bit of wherever the blue line is, clean that up a little bit with a rag and some brake cleaner, and put a little bit of Seal Glide in there just so it goes in nice and easy against the O-ring when it's going back in. So now you do get access to the other 2 bolts. This one here is a little tight. You have to move the harness all the way a little bit, but you can get away with it and put a socket in there, just enough room to get it out. All right, so we're doing the passenger side first. You can take off all 4 bolts slowly and let the strut slowly rest on the lower control arm. And then all you have to do is go in there and pretty much move it up and down and try and fish it out. I won't be able to record me doing that, but basically, like I said, just you're gonna have to play with the suspension and see if you can get an angle where you can slide the whole thing out, since right now it's just sitting there and it's loose. All right, so I did find it easier to remove the tie rod and then remove the hose from this ring and remove the sensor. Unplug the sensor from here. The easiest way to unplug these is to push forward first and then pull on the tab. It comes right out. If you just try and pull on the tab, it's like wicked hard. Typical Volkswagen Audi stuff. So unplug that sensor, take this brake line hose out of the way, brake hose, and then my plan is to lift this up, come down right in between here, and then be able to take the top off and go up with it. All right, so after fighting on it for like 5 minutes, it wasn't too bad. I did put a piece of tape here because it comes out through here and it comes so close to here, and I just didn't want to chip it or scrape it. So I put a piece of tape there just to kind of, I rubbed it like a tiny bit, but it's not bad. So once you take that out of there, put it on a vise. It has a nice angle here, so you can literally put it right on the vise like that. And then you're gonna take spring compressors, whatever one you choose, compress the spring just enough so that this is loose. And then once this is loose, you take out this 18 nut out of here. And then you remove the spring, put the new one on. You might need to compress it to get this nut started. We'll find out when we get there. All right, so basically all you need is one of these little spring compressors. Usually they come in a set of 2. So you need one, you put it right on the front. So basically where the control arms come towards you, put it right in the middle there. And all you gotta do is compress this a tiny bit, maybe like an inch. And then the top will be loose. So now you can take off the nut without the spring jumping, and we'll put the new spring in. All right, so once you take the nut off, the top comes right off, and then all you gotta do is back off on the spring compressor to relax the tension, and then we can put in the new spring. All right, so the new spring is on. With the new spring, because it's slightly shorter, you don't need to compress it to put it in. You just basically push this down a little bit and the nut will start, and then you just take the gun and hit it and it'll tighten right up. So now we can put this back on the car. And for the other side is the exact same thing. I'm gonna do the left front, and then we'll move on to the rear. All right, so as you guys can see, the fronts are installed. Cleaned up the calipers that were filthy. Both sides. So now we're gonna move on to the rears. This side here, I actually did it on the car, believe it or not. The strut was sticking out like this, and this hook here was caught on the sway bar, and I fought it on the other side and I got it out. This side here, when it was hanging out, I said, I'm just gonna do it in the car because I had enough room. So I basically just took the nut off, took the top off, compressed the spring right on the spot. Same thing I did on the bench. Put the new spring on, tightened it back down, and it was already at a position that was sideways. So I just flipped it back, put it up. It was actually easier to do it in the car. So in the future, I will probably just tilt them out, do the spring, tilt them back in. Now, the rears, as you can see here, I almost have this one out. I have a spring compressor on the inside. So if you come from here, you put a spring compressor right there. Obviously, I had a lot more room now that I'm moving it out. You do have this stupid shield here. If this wasn't here, it would be nice and easy. You can always cut it off if you don't care for it, but I want to put it back the way I already had it in there. So this spring is literally just a hair in the corner there out. I'm going to take a pry bar and pry the top of it this way. That way the spring would just fall out, and then I'll be able to take it out. And hopefully, my plan is to try and cheat. This is already cheating, but my plan is to try and cheat and compress the new spring on the bench and tie it with a ratchet strap, just the strap, not the actual ratcheting part, and then put it on the car because it'll be nice and small, and then come in here with a razor blade and cutting the strap and letting the spring open up. So we'll see how that does. But yeah, let me get this spring out with the pry bar, and we'll start compressing the new spring. All right, so this is how we're gonna cheat. So I have a spring compressor on each side of the new spring. Believe it or not, the new spring is just as high, just as tall as the old spring. So obviously you could get it in with a pry bar the same way I got it out, but it would be kind of a fight. So compressing it like that, it's about 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches shorter, right? So go to Harbor Freight or any Walmart, buy a 4-pack of ratchet straps. You're gonna destroy one of them, just the strap itself. You still have 3 for whatever. And basically, after you compress it, go around twice on each side, as you can see here. Go around twice on each side, 1 knot, and then go around the whole thing and put like 3 more knots. And 2 of these should be plenty strong for the spring. My hopes is that when I loosen up those compressors, it'll still be held down mostly by the straps, and I'll have a lot of room to get this in because I won't have the compressors on the way. And then once I have it in the car and I'm ready to go, I'll just take a razor blade and kind of cut this one at a time and let them just pow into place. That'll be like the ultimate cheat code if that'll work. Like I said, I didn't have to take anything apart on the car at all. It was basically just a pry bar. I got the spring out. So hoping that this method will work. Let's find out. And for all of you that are saying, oh my God, he's holding a bomb, it's so dangerous. There's nothing dangerous about this. As long as you keep your fingers out of where it could pinch you. So if this thing exploded right now, nothing will happen to my hand. It will just open up. As long as you don't put your fingers on the top or on the bottom where if this does let go, it'll pinch your finger against something, you're good to go. So make sure when you load it into the car, just hold it by the coils like this. As you can see, I have it mostly in. So basically, it goes in pretty easy like this. Now you just have to put a pry bar here and lift this up so you can slide this little shield thing. And then you're going to have to work this into the hole and line up the pin here. There's a little rubber, see the little rubber tip? I have to turn that and line it up. And once it drops, I should be able to just cut the straps and it should be in place. Nice and easy. All right, as you can see, the spring's in place, and it's actually a little bit loose. So I know that once I cut this, it's not going to be an explosion. And even if it is, it's already in place. Little tit lines up here. The little shield is on. So up there, let me see if I can show you this side here. Up there is on. So we're golden. Just do the same thing on the other side. And it's pretty easy. Honestly, not having to take anything apart on the rear. It's awesome. All right, so now I'm gonna cut the straps. The easiest way I find to keep your hands out of places like that, just to be sure, vice grip. Go to vice grip and brand new razor blade. I'm gonna shove it in there. I'm gonna just basically, there you go. No undyed. People are petrified of springs. Over here. There you go. Installation complete. I just pull the straps. You gotta undo the knots. Now you can put your hand in there because it's already compressed. There you go. There's $3 worth of straps. Saved you about an hour. All right, fuse all done. I gotta pop the wheels on, and then I'm gonna show you guys before and after. This side here took me about 20 minutes by the time I figured out how to do it. This side here took about 5 minutes. Literally put one spring compressor through here, compress it enough where the stock spring's loose, take a pry bar, pop it out of place. This whole spring comes out of here. And then just do as I showed you guys with go to your cheap store, buy some cheap ratchet straps, tie them up. It's a breeze, super easy to install. I do have a lift, so that makes it easier, but in your driveway, this would be a lot easier than having to drop any of the suspension components. So yeah, give that a try and let me know how it works. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed the before and after, and we'll see you guys on the next one.